Hello, everybody. So we are live today for a new episode of the Audacious Explorer with Lisa from You Are Genuine. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, how are you, Anka?
I'm very good. I already forgot how to pronounce your your surname, so I was like, man, I have to say it, and then I forgot.
To know it really. They're not going to be able to say it either. Mahac is how you say it.
Mahac. Okay, cool. Thank you. Have you had like a lot of situations where people could not properly pronounce your surname?
Yeah, every situation.
Yeah.
When I did go visit the Czech Republic, they were able to pronounce it.
Yeah. Okay. So great. So this is the origin of your name is Czech. So that's all. Yeah. I also stumbled upon the same situation in many countries where people are like, "Oh my God, your surname is so long and I don't know how to pronounce it."
Yeah. How do you pronounce it?
Iorgulescu.
Oh, okay.
It does sound very rough and very Yeah. Okay, cool. So guys, I'm really excited to have this conversation now today with Lisa. We were just talking about female and male energy, and I'm already like really pumped and really curious to hear more about that. But before going into this, Lisa, you are genuine, right? How did you come up with this concept, and what does it represent for you, and who are you serving through your offerings?
That's a lot of really good questions. Genuine came about, it's my blog and it's a website. It has a lot of free spiritual resources. And it came about because I was feeling like there was a lot of posturing going on in marketing, where we're so lucky right now because we can really be individuals and market ourselves, and you have the sky's the limit. You can become an affiliate marketer, you can become an influencer, you can run your own business, and you can do it all as one person. And so I was noticing a lot of people getting really off track with who they were, myself included. You know, just promoting myself. I was running a business and I was promoting myself, and it was kind of like, who is this person that's talking on social media? And so I just kind of scrapped everything and started this website, this blog called Genuine. And it's really about how to tap into that part of yourself that is genuine, that is real, and then be able to serve other people in whatever way you're looking to do that.
I really like, so you have this quotation from Thoreau on your website, right? So we are constantly invited to be who we are. There are a lot of words, like key phrases that are thrown in marketing, such as authenticity and being genuine, being true to yourself, and so on and so forth. So what does being genuine mean to you from your perspective?
I think genuine and authenticity, I think the reason we're seeing the word authenticity a lot is because it's really needed right now. A lot of people are getting tired of not only seeing other people who are being inauthentic, but feeling like they're being inauthentic. So it's important. But genuine to me means real in a way that cannot really be compromised. Like, I feel like a lot of our anxiety and worry, when we can really sit in meditation and we can really connect to our core, we can strip away all the self-improvement and all the to-do lists and all the things that we're wanting to make ourselves, you know, in ways we're wanting to be different, and we can really be happy with who we are exactly as we are. And that doesn't mean that we don't still apply ethical standards to ourselves, but really at the core, I believe that we're all very good, loving creatures. And if we can really, it may take some of us longer to tap into that than others, but we're all capable of doing it. So that's what genuine means to me. It's just stilling yourself enough to remember your true essence, which I believe is good.
Yeah. I'm curious about the meditation part. So when did you start with meditation, and how is it that you started, that you got on with this?
Yeah, so I was in the service industry for about 15 years and was getting a little older, and it was getting tiring. I enjoy hospitality. I love it, but it was just the hours. And so I was looking for a different line of work, and I took yoga teacher training, and I became a yoga teacher. And the little dog is going to start barking. I don't know what he's barking at, though. And so I started teaching classes at this cute little studio, and it turned out that my classes, even though I was only teaching 2 or 3 classes a week out of like 12 that were on the schedule, it tended to be that the people that were really going through like grief and depression were coming to my class, because I myself had lost my father at an early age, and I talked a lot about grief, and I talked to people who are grieving a lot. And so unofficially, these classes sort of became these like really emotional classes, and I loved it.
All right.
Okay, so we were talking about the retreats, and you were saying that basically there are a few clients, so it's not like a big retreat. Because I was thinking, oh my God, like it has to be that tremendous.
Yeah. That would be too hard. Yeah, they just take one or two people, and it's like a couple that's gone through the same thing, or an individual. It can't be people that are like not related to the same. And it was usually like pretty big tragedies and things that the people that were experiencing. And it was usually pretty quick afterwards, which is also very difficult. That's actually how I got into essential oils. I'm sure you saw on my website, I work with essential oils, and I had 2 hours a day with these guys, and that's so long. Like you can't, if you've ever been through any kind of big trauma, like it's really hard to move your body at all, but then to sit for 2 hours and try to do different things. And so that's when I started to incorporate not only just gentle movement and stretches that would help, but then using the essential oils and a little bit of breath work, which meditation is a little tricky in that phase, because you're just trying to get out of your body. And so how I started, I recorded a meditation for grief that's actually on the Insight Timer and on my website. But like what I have people do is just feel the physical sensations in their body, because when you're grieving, there's so many physical sensations. There's a lot of physical pain. And so you can actually use that as a tool rather than your breath, because your breath a lot of times when you're grieving is not very deep, and you can get panic attacks and things like that really easily. So we kind of want to avoid using that as a tool, and instead just have them like, okay, there's a pain in my chest. That's going to be the tool that I'm using right now. And a lot of times when you're focusing on it like that, you can actually diminish the pain a little bit. So
you are basically helping them focus on the pain.
The physical pain.
The physical pain inside the body. So by doing so, then the pain transforms?
The goal isn't to really transform the pain. It's just to use it as when you do meditation, you usually, in the style that I practice, you use your breath as a focal point. And that way you can your thoughts don't stop, but you can stop paying attention to them. You can pay attention to your breath instead. So because using your breath when you're grieving is not an easy focal point, that's what we would say, okay, well, pick a part of the body that hurts and use that as your focal point. So the pain usually did diminish, but that wasn't really the goal. The goal was just to use that as like their practice, basically. But with grief, the human animal is the only animal that we know of that stays in that fight or flight experience after trauma. Most animals do things physically to shake it off. So if you see, like, if dogs fight, they will walk away and they will literally shake their entire body several times after a fight like that. And they're just like getting rid of the adrenaline and things that were released in their body. We don't do that. We keep ruminating on things. We're blessed to have this great memory that allows us to remember our loved ones, but it also allows us to miss them and think about them a lot. And so we're always releasing these chemicals into our body that keep us in fight or flight. So when you're grieving, if you can focus on the body instead of the thoughts, then that just helps you get your nervous system reset a little bit. So, but it's hard. It's hard to do. You don't want to do that when you're really in a lot of pain,
Yeah, it's very interesting. I actually was thinking about emotional freeing technique and how you are going to the body and also like physically pressing, so tapping, so that you can some of the negative emotions. And I think that there are other things such as dancing, like dancing to free the body and basically create that flowing, like letting the emotions get outside of the body and basically not just like
exactly.
Yeah, make a little inside your head. And, okay, cool. So I'm curious about. So you explained how you first started, and now at this moment in your business and in your life, what do you feel that is like the most rewarding thing?
It's nice that you provided some of these questions prior, because I got to really think about that, and it was surprising what came to mind. But honestly, what the most rewarding things are is feedback from people who've listened to the meditations. So I have like 6 or 7 guided meditations, and they've been listened to like over 50,000 times on Insight Timer, and it's so awesome. And that people can comment. And that's such a polite little community that they usually only comment if it's positive feedback. So that's nice. But, you know, just hearing from people that say that has helped them is really worthwhile. And when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're not charging for your services and you're having to figure out other ways to finance what you're doing, you know, there's a lot of stress involved, and sometimes you do wonder why you're doing things. And when I read those comments, I'm always really filled with a lot of gratitude that I get to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about something. So in the spiritual sphere, there is a lot of, I know there are a lot of conceptions around linking spirituality with money and actually creating money out of offering spiritual practices such as mindfulness or yoga. What is your opinion on this?
I actually have a very strong opinion. I really believe that things need to remain free. It's a conflict of interest because, of course, I could make money from what I'm doing. But the thing is when I was teaching yoga, when I got into teaching yoga, that was a really strongly held belief, is that you actually weren't supposed to charge for yoga. You were, you could lead a class, but you really needed to get donations. And in the early days of yoga, that's what happened. You relied upon your community to support you. When we started charging for yoga, that really contributed to a lot of what we see with yoga now. A lot of yoga has been detached from the ethics of yoga and become a very commercial experience. And I really don't want to see that happen with meditation and mindfulness. I wouldn't want to see it happen with any faith that people believe. Not that meditation and mindfulness are a faith, but you know, any spiritual practice. So I really feel strongly that I've been advised to charge because of the popularity of the meditations, and I'm very stubborn about it. I do have a donation button if people want to do that, but otherwise I finance what I'm doing through freelance writing and also the essential oils and other product affiliation, and that I make really clear. So that's an easy way to do it, is you can provide the spiritual resources for free and then say, hey, these are some tools that I like to use that I do make money off of, you know, and then that can keep the commercial and the charitable separate, I think.
Yeah, and I guess it's all about transparency too. So being upfront about the benefit that you are having out of people investing in the essential oils that you are promoting. So I also guided meditation for a couple of years, and I remember that it was also, for me, there was this dimension about making meditation and all sorts of other spiritual practices accessible to people, because sometimes maybe somebody chooses not to participate in a meditation session because they can't afford it, or because whatever,
Exactly.
something else is more important for them at that moment. And then there is also this, like, later on, I started speaking with people about how you create money and how money is energy. And one of my mentors, actually, he was helping me with setting up my business, and he told me, you know, when you are asking for money from an investor, for example, you are not asking for money, you are asking for life for your enterprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are actually placing the money so that you can survive one more year with your enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely understand. I do see the justification for charging for things. I'm just concerned, especially maybe it's because I'm an American and I see what we do to everything that we charge for, you know? I mean, that's a big generalization, but typically, you know, things can be very commercialized here. And so I'd like to see, and also too, like when I started meditating, I wouldn't have been able to do it if it hadn't been free. There's no way. And I'm so grateful to my teachers that allowed it to be by donation. Even like 10-day retreats and things like that were by donation.
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful space. Like I do know that now many people who go into spirituality, they also start fueling more and more of the self-limiting beliefs, and that was my case. I think that money in itself, for example, or anything else in the world has no connotation unless you give it a connotation. And for me, when I started focusing on, so I think that it's very dangerous when you start focusing on getting the money for the money, right? When we don't understand that actually what we are doing is serving people, and we are there to be of service and to create something beautiful as an experience for them and to help them get in touch with their true nature and things like this. So I think that then everything else kind of becomes peripheric, and money, no money, donation, no donation. There is no more focus and there is no importance for that.
Yeah, and I think if you have that abundance mindset, then when you provide those things for free, then you do have faith that you'll be provided for. And that's how I look at it with the affiliate marketing that I do, is that's how I'm being provided for. Someday, if people start donating, then that's great. But I know that for me, and we're all along different paths in our spirituality. I know that for me, security is always a really big thing. And so if I really want a secure stream of income so that I can then turn my focus to being more altruistic. It's just, I'm just not the type of person yet that could totally teach meditation for free all the time and just like hope that things work out with money coming in. That would be great. I mean, that's part of my spiritual development, is to get to a point like that maybe. But for right now, it's such a great relief to have the money coming in from a totally unrelated and very transparent source that does support what I'm doing, but doesn't have to be. Like, people don't have to do that to access the free resources. So it's just different for everyone. You know, I think it depends on what your, well, you know, there's different theories that we all have different things to learn in certain lifetimes. And so that's just depends.
Yeah. I like the concept of uncertainty. I like it. When I say I like it, it's more that I want to like it. Because I think that in our human nature, we do treasure certainty, or what we think certainty looks like. And I was listening to a podcast. There is this person, I forgot his name. So he created the Zen house or something of the sort. He's basically helping people. He's supporting people who have terminal diseases, right? So in the last months, they are meditating a lot on uncertainty, on purposeless.
Absolutely. I just wrote a blog about how to reduce frustration by identifying like whether you are craving certainty or uncertainty, and how to embrace uncertainty. So like, that's a big theory of, Tony Robbins, people have mixed opinions about him, but I like some of the stuff he has to say. And he talks about that we need both, and that we are right. We do tend to crave certainty a lot more out of fear. But we can't also just have uncertainty, because that can lead to instability as well, especially in our relationships. And so we really are looking for a balance between certainty and uncertainty, or not even a balance, but just a comfort level with both, no matter what you're having more of in your life at a certain moment. So I think what we see politically, and even countries that go to war and things like that, it's this uber attachment to security and certainty. And what I advise to people right now is take a look at the world and just say, I don't know how things are going to work out. And I can only control, the only certainty I can provide is over my own self. Maybe some people can't even do that, you know? And so that we all need to be a lot more comfortable with uncertainty. Now, having said that, if you have a lot of uncertainty in your life, then you might need to be more comfortable with certainty and seek that out a little bit and balance it. So it's both.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding the middle way.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So talking about this dichotomy between certainty and uncertainty, we were also discussing the balance between yin and yang, and feminine and masculine. So what is your view on this, and how is it that we can access each of these energies that you are still?
Yeah. I don't know if I know how to do. I know what I'm trying to do, but I don't know if I know how to do it yet. But what you and I were discussing earlier before everybody joined us was that society, again, we need to have that balance between yin and yang, or feminine and masculine, if you want to call it that. I think those terms are probably outdated. I think because of so many discussions about gender, I think that they can be a little bit, like they can immediately shut people down to use phrases like masculine and feminine. So I'd like to see more, I'd like to see a greater understanding of yin and yang. So yin is the feminine and yang is the masculine, but I don't really know anything more than that. And so I'd like to use those terms in the future, but for now, using masculine and feminine, I think that regardless of your gender, you need to have a balance of both in you. And what that would look like is the feminine is more nurturing and caring, and the masculine would be more certain and driven. And so when you look at what we were just discussing with uncertainty and certainty, you could say that the feminine embraces uncertainty and the masculine embraces certainty. So the feminine spirit would embrace anyone, no matter what, anyone in need, right? So like, it doesn't matter what your affiliation is or what tribe you're in or anything like that. It's just if you're in need, the feminine spirit will serve you. The masculine would be more protective and more in search of certainty. And you can see how each of those, if you were only focused on one, would get you in trouble, right? So what we're seeing in society now is just like an overabundance of the masculine energy. And I'm really excited about all of these feminine spirits and masculine spirits who are embracing the feminine spirit and letting that have a little more say in the world and a little more influence so that we can get to where it's not just one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there's people like watercolors, right? Like two watercolors dissolving one into the other. And I think that that's where the beauty of life comes from. For feminine, masculine has been always about action and then giving in, perception. Right? Is constantly to-do list and this is the plan and I'm going to implement this plan. And then the feminine says, I'm taken care of. Everything will come when it comes. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's the whole conversation about, money abundance and love and anything that you're talking about, you need both, right? You can't just have one or the other. So, and I think we're getting there, but how to get there, I'm not totally sure. I know within myself, I just am aware. Even though I identify as a woman, I tend to exhibit more masculine tendencies sometimes when faced with uncertainty. And so a lot of times it's just a matter of reminding myself that the feminine is in me and needs to be empowered by being more comfortable with not knowing or receiving or, not necessarily barreling through things with force.
Yeah. Yeah. So on your path, who inspired you? Do you have like people or figures that you find inspirational?
Yeah, so many. But I narrowed it down to one because we were talking about meditation specifically today. There's a woman named Tara Brach who's a meditation teacher, and I love her so much because she's always provided free resources. And she does sell books, and she does have bigger retreats that, you pay for. But she has she records all of her like weekly Dharma talks and puts them on this podcast. There's literally hundreds of resources online by her, and it's all free. And so I really admire her for that. I admire that she's been doing that for years and years and never has asked for, and you can donate, and I have, but you don't have to get tapped into what she's teaching. And that's just so important. When I was starting out, I don't know that I would have gotten very far without those resources. And so she's my hero in the meditation world for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to find, so I googled her online because I know I'm familiar with her. I also listened to some of her meditations. I remember one about the rain or something of the sort. So there was like music also in the background, and it was very soothing.
Yes, she's amazing.
Yeah, but guys, you can just search online. Tara Brach,
I think it's tarabrach.org, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
this resource. Okay, if you're somebody like when you were growing up, for example, that you found, do you think that there is a figure that kind of impacted who you are now, when you are maybe a child or when you were younger?
I mean, I think I'm really I'm an only child, and so I just read a lot, and I loved biographies when I was little. I loved in my little school library, I could see the section of the room that was the biographies, and I just kind of went through them one by one and read every story imaginable. And I love memoir, so I've always loved like just learning, and probably because I am an only child, just looking to others for example. And so it's really hard to pinpoint just one influence. There were so many. I really think I learned something from everybody that I meet and listen to.
Yeah, this question comes from, I don't know if it's a stereotype or something of the sort. So like people constantly ask me, what happened so that you took this alternative way of living, right? Mm-hmm. And I was trying to think if there was like a moment when something really big and disruptive happened, or if it's more something that kind of sedimented throughout the years. And like what I was reading, for example, I was reading The Wizard of Oz when I was a child, and I was like totally living that story. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard to unravel those things when you're interested in certain things when you're young, because that's what you're interested in. And so then you follow that path, right? So I don't know. But I've always wanted to, like, I've always been intrigued by stories of people who have big adventures, and travel and kind of live outside of the norm of society. And so I think that was anybody who had a story like that was an influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember I had a chat at one point with a monk, and we were trying to, I was trying to understand what is the purpose of life and what is everybody looking for. And basically what I took out of that conversation was that we each look for success in life, right? And success looks very different from one person to another. What does success look like to you?
Oh, joy, just having joy in my life. I mentioned earlier that I lost my father at an early age, and I think that really cemented and it's something, even though it's been 20 years, I've never ever let go of the remembrance to have joy in your life. So I'm not terribly driven success. I'm not a very success-minded person when it comes to money, or even on a spiritual plane. Like when people talk about enlightenment and things like that, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not even worried about that. I'm just trying to, I think having had grief and trauma early on, it's like, I'm just trying to have joy in my life and bring joy to others, and have connection with friends and be of service. That would be success to me.
Yeah, beautiful purpose. Thank you very much, Lisa. So this was basically it. Now I would like to share with the people who are watching and who will be watching afterwards where we can find you online.
Mm-hmm.
Website.
Yes, I have the blog there, and then I have you can connect with me, my social media there. I'm really active on Instagram primarily. And thank you. Oh, that's so cool how you can do that. And then I also have a personal blog, which is my name, lisamachach.com. And and Medium, you can get there through that. Yeah, exactly. Because I do my genuine blog, and then I also write little memoir pieces that are more personal, and that's where you can find those. So those are the best ways. And I just want to compliment you on your awesome, I really love watching your other videos, and you have such a great presence and way of making people feel at ease and being adaptable to talk about really anything. So you have a real knack for this. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And thank you for introducing me to Insight Timer, because I didn't know about this. So this is an app, guys, and you can have it on your phone. And basically you have lots of resources, meditation resources, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it.
It's incredible. It's free. I don't know how they finance it. I think they're funded. They're not a nonprofit. I don't know if somebody's funding them somehow, because it's got literally thousands of meditations by really well-known teachers, and they don't charge a thing. It's all right there. So definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Lisa. If there is anything that you'd like to add.
No, I just want to say thanks again, and thanks for those of you who are watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. And you will also find this on the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching today. Have a happy day.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.